welcome back to the Honour Respect and another edition of Raw out of 10. And the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments are just getting started after SmackDown saw 2 men and 2 women earn spots in their semi-finals. A Monday show continues to build the United Champion show, taking place on June 28th, while addressing some of the stuff that went down at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So without a doubt, let's get straight into things. And we started things off with the usual shot of superstars arriving until Liv and Dominic Mysterio made their way to the ring. We saw a quick replay of Morgan taking out Nikki Bella last week. Morgan talked a lot of trash about Bella and bragged about her accomplishments. It was a standard heel promo. She called out Io Sky because she wants to rematch for the women's title. It only took a few seconds before Io showed up. Particularly, it turned into a fight that ended with Sky sending both Morgan and Dom out of the ring. It's clear Morgan's being positioned as the next challenger. This was a cookie cutter segment that helped get the feud going, but did little more than make the storyline feel really important. Before we got Ivy Niles, Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez and Oscar battling out in a fatal four-way in the Queen of the Ring tournament. Oscar and Vaquer formed a temporary alliance to take out Rodriguez and Niles before they squared up for a fight. We returned to a break to see Vaquer taking it to anyone. She spent a little time controlling the pace until the Empress of Tomorrow put her in a submission. The match lasted through 2 commercial breaks, so they had plenty of time to work with, and all 4 women had their moments, but it felt like Vaquer was a focus more than anyone else. A solid performance from everyone involved. The biggest complaint was more how WWE spaced things out in terms of commercials. Rodriguez was about to get the win when Rhea Ripley yanked her out of the ring with a riptide. She stirred her back into the ring, so Oscar hit the running snip attack. And yeah, I thought it worked well in terms of the finish of Oscar getting the ring, protecting Ripley. So yeah, 6 out of 10. After a quick backstage segment with the Judgment Day, that continues to build tension in the group. Gunther came out to the ring to celebrate winning back the world title from Jey Uso. He said Uso is better than a man at WrestleMania 41, but every other night Gunther is untouchable. This led to what's next for the champ, but it seemed like the fans knew before he did. The crowd started chanting Goldberg's name before he came out, congratulating Gunther before telling him he was challenging at Saturday night's main event. It wasn't a surprising segment given the rumours, but it didn't overstay its welcome, and yeah, just 10 minutes to set it up worked effectively. Before we got JD McDonough taking on AJ Styles in the singles match. So Mysterio told Balor to stay backstage since he wasn't able to get the job done against Styles during their recent encounter. The Irishman pretended to agree with the decision, but was clearly enraged. Styles brought a size and experience advantage into this contest, so he was able to control the pace in the early moments before McDonough began fighting back. As the show went to break, JD hit a big dive into the timekeeper's area. When we returned, the Phenomenal One was just beginning to mount some offense. Dom tried to help with the distraction, but it wasn't enough to prevent AJ hitting the Styles Clash for the win. Balor saved Mysterio from taking the P1, and Styles posed with the IC title to end the segment. This was a good match, and it had great heat on it, and yeah, they definitely felt in chemistry. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Before Bayley came out to the ring and gave a promo about how she does what she does for the fans, not for title accolades. She said Becky Lynch was taking her out before WrestleMania only made her stronger. The man eventually came out to respond and said that fans were happy to see her at Mania than they would have been with Bayley. Lynch agreed to defend the women's IC title against Bayley before taking a swing at her. She missed her own well and knocked her down. The segment was pretty straightforward. They did a good job setting up, but it's doubtful anyone will be talking about it post the show. Before we then got Liv Morgan against Kairi Sane, and after Sane took Morgan down, the 2-time women's world champ immediately grabbed her shoulder and ran out of the ring. It appears to be a legitimate injury, so Sane was just walking around waiting for the referee to check on her until the show went to a break. We returned to find out the match was called off due to Morgan injuries, and yeah, not going to really say much. We don't know the details of it, but except for that, just get well soon, Liv Morgan. Before we got Jey Uso versus Rusev versus Sheamus versus Bronson Reed in the King of the Ring. Rusev and Uso paired up while Sheamus and Reed tried to fight against each other. Jey was giving up a lot of size to the Bulgarian and had his ribs taped up to sell injury, so it felt like he is at a disadvantage. The Celtic Warrior and the Bulgarian Brute eventually had their standoff for unloading on each other with strikes. Even though he was outweighed and overpowered in the match, Jey still managed to stay competitive, and all 4 guys worked hard in this match. Braun showed up to prevent Uso from hitting a splash on Reed, but Zayn and Penta showed up to fight him. LA Knight pushed Reed off the top rope and allowed Uso to hit him with 2 big splashes. Seth and Cody both showed up at the end of the show, which made the segment feel a bit too crowded, but I think good for Jey Uso to get a big win so soon after dropping the belt. So yeah, on the whole, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Overall, Raw this week gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, it's a pretty decent episode of Raw this week. Quite a lot of intriguing stuff happening, throughout the card, including the return of Goldberg. And I think, yeah, there's several interesting aspects as to Raw at the moment with where we're going and on Netflix. So, yeah, I'm intrigued, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Hey, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials. Link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme, and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.